We bandy the word dream around all the time. Pay attention to your dreams, sweet dreams, your dream job. Dare to dream. And why is this? Well, dreams are our aspirations, our desires, what we want more than anything in the world. And for most of us, no dream is more important than finding our dream partner. But why is this so hard to make happen for a lot of people? Why do our dream dates often turn into nightmares? Well, we're going to discuss all this with my guest, Tom Ziemann. He's the author of the new book, Creating the Relationship of Your Dreams, How to Manifest It from Fantasy to Reality. Welcome to the Dream Power Show, Tom.
Such an honor, Debbie, to be on this program. You've had such amazing, articulate guests, experts, and I'm very humbled that I was asked, and I hope I can live up to their billing.
Oh, I'm sure you can, because I know you have a lot to say, and I want our listeners to hear some of that. So here we go. I tell you, Tom, I've always believed that it's hard, if not impossible, to find the relationship of our dreams if we don't love ourselves first. Would you agree with that?
You said the key thing. There's nothing magic about this, but if you do the steps, if you start with loving yourself, no matter how hard you think it can be, which is part of forgiveness, acceptance. Acceptance is the key. Doing the inner work and doing the outer work, then magical things happen. There's really no magic about it, but when you put into play, this is universe, this is my, and again, I always like to do housekeeping before I do these. Anything I say, I never say I'm right on any interview I do. To anybody I talk to, these are right for me. They make sense for me. And if they make sense for you, awesome, you win. But guess what? If you vehemently disagree with anything I say in here, that's good, because you know yourself and you win. Yes, it's the self-love. And I'll speak to 15 to 100 people when I'm speaking or on stage or whatnot, or even one-on-one. I'll ask them this question. And I say, you don't have to answer it, but I like them to. I say, do you love yourself more than anybody in the world? And it's astounding. Some I get like shocked. Some are, what? Some are like doe in a headlight. Really, it's not a narcissistic question. You had already shared a beautiful secret with me that it took you many years to get to that point. But once you did, Debbie, your life opened exponentially to the possibilities. So that if you can get to that point, and again, not narcissism, but to give that love, that's step one. Number two is doing the inner work, which we're going to talk more about as we go on, but then doing the outer work. You do those, and again, this is just my belief. I believe the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, doesn't care what you ask for. It returns what you ask for, whether you're asking, whether people do it in meditation or prayer, or a burning desire. But whatever you hold in your mind, I mean, this has been promulgated by the wisest men and women for eons, thousands of years. In the Bible, it says, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find. This is an old world truth. And again, the sad thing that you see, Debbie, and that I see, we see so many people that want, and they're going everywhere, clutching for straws, scratching, but they don't know what it is. They know they want something, but they don't know what it is or really how to ask for it.
Isn't it true that anger is also the death knell for many relationships?
Oh, it destroys, Buddha said it best, said it beautifully 2,800 years ago, and he said, you will not be punished for your anger. You'll be punished by it. Holding anger in, he also said, was that like drinking poison and hoping that the other person dies. It is a poison. It is a destroyer. And the saddest truth is that, there's a power to it. The 30 seconds that you go off on someone and you say your mind can destroy a 30-year relationship. So it's really a question of Here's a beautiful question. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy?
One of the other things that you talk about is the idea of it's not a good thing to fall in love with love. Explain that. What do you mean by that?
You know, it took me many years to figure this out, doing a lot of online dating and not meeting the person. And all of a sudden, Miss Right, which happened to be Miss Right now, as things turned out, came into your life, and you have these expectations of what they are without meeting the person. You're falling in love with the power of ether. You've heard of love sickness. That's what it is. They can say one thing and all of a sudden you're in the depths of despondency. You can say another thing and you're at the heights of the Colossus of Zeus, way up at the top. I mean, the highest highs, the lowest lows. And love is a beautiful thing. I look at it as love as a multifaceted gemstone. And there's so many aspects of it. The real love, the unconditional love, which Gandhi and Jesus Christ would talk about, something that very few of us, and I'm going to pound my chest and say, I'm not there. But really to get to that level of altruism and to get that, because when the relationship, when you meet that person, like I said, falling in love with love, meeting the person and go, I'm like, what is this? This is not my beautiful girlfriend. This is not my beautiful life. I mean, it's like, what happened? And it wasn't being honest with myself. It wasn't giving the other person a chance to live up to my expectations, my fault. Because the relationship is going to be exciting in the beginning. That's what we love. We want excitement, in my opinion. Excitement, that newness, that nuances, the new sex. But after all that's done, the realness of the relationship steps in. That to me is where it's the tipping point. That is where you can take it to the next level, or what it goes down. There's always people who are always looking for something. It's for guys, especially. Guys are going to hate me in this book because I'm calling us out. I'm calling me out. It's the conquest, which has nothing to do with that love. You get to the point of that self-love, and I think a lot of these games go away. Not always.
So, Tom, let's say you have done all the inner work and you're now ready to find a person to love. So tell me, what's the first step you need to take?
I'm a big proponent of dating sites. I have been, and there's some good ones. I liked Match, and there's plenty of fish, and there's good ones. Just find what works for you. But when you do your profile, use a current photo. Don't use one from like 15 years ago, because immediately if you ever meet them, or if you go on a Zoom meeting like this, they're going to look at that photo and they're going to look at you, and suddenly your relationship or what you're beginning really starts off on an awkward foot, or one just not based on truth. And I think I'd much rather be hurt with truth than lied to and find out down the line. So if you don't have, like, aside from a great photo, have it professionally done, or have someone can take some nice photos. If you take 100 on your cell phone, you'll get one that you'll like, a flattering photo. The next thing is, when you write your profile, don't write it highfalutely. Don't have someone else write it. Write it from the heart, and write it what you really believe, not what you think that the person will want to hear, but what you really enjoy. You might be surprised. People might like you for who you are. I've been telling people for years, find your tribe. Now, here's the next part. Tell everyone, I'm single, I'm looking. And don't judge by a look. You'd be surprised at how many times I've been wrong by just judging people by the way they look. And when I talk to them, I go, wow, a freaking idiot. I could have had a great friendship. Even if it doesn't turn out to be romantic, you got a friend or someone maybe that you're going to share some wonderful things with. You just never know. Now, you might know within the first 15 minutes. Don't drag it on. Again, just say, hey, I really like you. It's probably not what you want to hear. I'd like to be friends, but I just don't know if this is going anywhere. Be upfront, and it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, and just be open to it. It's one thing a lot of people say, well, I'm single and are you looking for somebody? Yes. Are you willing to go out and do the work? And then they don't do it. You know, it's the 1% inspiration that they have. Hey, I'm tired of being alone, when they haven't yet figured out, Debbie, something that you know very well. And you told me this, and I love this about you, is that you said you finally figured out late in life, if I remember correctly, the difference of being lonely and being alone. Okay.
If there is one quality, if you just had to name one quality
Mhm.
that you value most in a good, loving relationship, what would it be?
Different for everybody. Now, if you're asking me personally, God, there's so many of them, and I touch upon this in the book as well. Um, Laughter is a wonderful point. You made an earlier wonderful point that, looks don't last forever. Now there's got to be some attraction initially. You're not going to be with a dog per se, unless that they have just such a marvelous personality. There's got to be something there, but looks don't last forever. We're not going to be young and pretty forever. Was it Karen? There's that old song that says, "Who'll be turning you on? I will." When you get old and your looks are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Captain and Tennille, or was it the Carpenters, something like that. So it's that, to develop that friendship, a friendship. I Laughter and friendship really can help a relationship for a long. Sometimes people, especially if we're getting up in age, it's more. It's not even the sexual thing. I mean, to me, that's important. I mean, I'm still a fairly young guy. I'm going to be 58 years old tomorrow. Thank you very much. But it's companionship. It's a big thing. So friendship, finding your friend. Now you got to be your own friend first.
I've been married a long time. And I will admit, we've had ups and downs because you can't be married for as long as we have and not have ups and downs, just the nature of life itself. Uh, but I would say, the thing that obviously, there's a love there, a deep love there. But the thing that I always say, the thing is, my husband always makes me laugh. And we have a good time with that. And so that, if you ask me, that would probably be one of my top qualities.
Laughter has a lot to do with your health too. There was Norman Cousins wrote a wonderful book years ago called Anatomy of an Illness, where he was supposedly, and I'll paraphrase here this real fast for lack of time, but he had supposedly an incurable cancer. He had 6 months to live, and he cured himself, according to the book, with laughter. He was watching the Three Stooges and a lot of the funny programs, and then he wrote about it. And so there's something to be said, a physiological change, the releasing of serotonin into our body, healing properties that laughter and those feelings have to do with. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD, but there's something to be said about that. And I think you can find scientifically proof that actually is beneficial. And, and the key point too, before I forget here, it's being able to laugh at yourself. When you do something that's funny, just let it go. I mean, a lot of people won't try anything, Debbie, because they're afraid of how that they're going to look, right? They won't try roller skating, something they've always wanted to do, because they're afraid of how they'll be seen, or ice skating or painting or anything, because of what people will say. Screw that. You have to crawl before you can walk, and you have to be able to look at yourself in a laughable way. People are going to love you more, that real person, if you can. And again, we've talked about the difference between comedy and tragedy. Comedy is when it happens to you. That's someone else.
And the person who sees you laughing at yourself may find that adorable and attractive. And there you have it. But on that note, we can't believe we're just about out of time. So quick final question, Tom.
Yeah.
How can people find out about the book and about you?
Thank you so much. Facebook is a wonderful way to get a hold of me. Look for Tom Ziemann, Ziemann. Got 3 books on Amazon right now. Just go to Amazon.com and look for Thomas. I wanted to be indubitably Thomas Ziemann. There's 3 books. There's one on relationships. There's one on anger. And there's one about a layman's guide to spirituality called The Department of Zenitation.
We've been speaking with author Tom Ziemann on finding your dream relationship.